Mike, first of all, have you had a look at the pitch?
No, no. I'm leaving that in the 2020.
Okay, but you don't anticipate any problems given we've had not so bad weather last couple of days?
No, listen, I think the obviously it's going to be frozen today, but it's meant to get milder next few days, and there's no rain forecast, so I'm not expecting any problems like the other night.
Was there any sort of bonus to that game being off? In other words, what's the score with Nick Townsend now?
Nick he's available for Saturday. Whether or not he starts is a different question, but he's available. His swelling on his knee has gone down.
Would he have played Tuesday? In other words, is that a sort of offhanded bonus?
No, Tom would have played. And Tom has been training superbly. His attitude has been exactly what I wanted from him. So he has kept himself in very, very good shape. He's actually doing more out of the team to try and get in the team, which is what every professional footballer should do. And I've spoken to Tom, and I understand his frustrations. I understand his reasons for being frustrated, but listen, he's reacted in the right way, and that's how every footballer should be wanting to impress a manager.
So when will you make the decision, Mike? Or have you already made it? You just want to tell us?
No, listen, we have made a decision. It's not whether I want to tell you or not. I don't want to tell the opposition. We've made a decision, and you'll find out around about 1:45 on Saturday.
It's a nice position to be in, though, yeah.
Yeah. So listen, I've said all along we've got 2 number 1 goalkeepers. It's not very often you get that. We had it with Nick and Joe previously, and then we've got it with Tom and Joe. So Tom and Nick. So it's look, that's an area of strength for us.
What about Ryan Taylor, Mike? Is he available to you?
Yes.
He's had a really long road back.
Yeah, listen, he was very close to, well, he was back. He trained with us for a while, and he had a little setback. Nothing major, but we've just been overcautious this time that we didn't want to rush him or have him break down again. And listen, it wasn't the same injury, which was pleasing as well.
I mean, managers use the cliches like having a new player, but you saw so little of him at the start of the season. I suppose it is really, isn't it?
Yeah, but what we did see of him, we saw a lot of quality. What he brings to the team, and I'm pleased to have him back in selection.
Does that affect your thinking for loans in January?
Yes and no. Listen, we've got to have cover in every position. We have had competition all throughout the team. It's what we wanted. It's what we needed, because we knew the games were coming thick and fast. And in January, we'll have more competition as well.
Yeah. Southend, they are where they are, but there's just signs. I know they lost to Orient in their last game, but there was signs before that of a revival, wasn't there?
Yeah, listen, they won 3 or 4 on the bounce. No game is easy in League Two. Listen, is it one? You look at the league table, is it one we're expected to win? Yes, but not. We don't take anything for granted. It's going to be a tough game, and they'll want to start the year in the right manner, but so do we.
Got to ask you about Scott Twine. Any news on him yet?
No. Listen, I'm always forthcoming with certain things, but it's really no point in mentioning it today because I don't know any more than I did last time. But I am hoping to find out in the next day or 2.
Yeah. And so you go into the new year, maybe sort of on the back of Tuesday night, you thought, well, maybe we won't be leading going into the new year. I know you'll tell me nothing's won in December/January, but it's something to be proud of, isn't it, Mike?
It is. I think the last time you put County AFC were top at Christmas time was 83 years ago. I don't know what the stats was, what they are on being top at New Year, going into New Year. I think it was a big boost to the boys that the results went our way as well. And it goes to show how hostile the league is. There's teams like Forest Green. I didn't expect them to lose, if I'm honest. You had the others who dropped points. Obviously, Salford didn't play and Carlisle got abandoned. But they had a tough game. They were losing as well. But listen, we just got to concentrate on ourselves. It's I know it's the old cliches, but it is honestly the only way you can think and prepare.
Because I know I asked you about a blip before, but everybody appears to be having a blip at the moment.
Listen, the season is so unprecedented with the amount of games and the short spaces in between games, the lack of training you're able to do in regards to the boys who have played. It's a strange year, but listen, we are hopefully more prepared than we've ever been, and we're working hard to keep that going.
Yeah, and finally, I don't suppose your players get New Year's Day off. They'll be taking it easy tonight.
They won't
2
be
days
off
before a game.
They won't be off tomorrow. And I think Boris has done us a favour and put everybody in lockdown near enough. So they best not get caught out anywhere. Yeah,
and this is the last one, Mike. Obviously, John Coleman was on radio today saying, they might have to look at he's saying again, they may need a circuit breaker. Just quickly on that, what are your thoughts?
I'm not for a circuit breaker. I think the protocols and everything that have been in place, as long as you've been following them, have served us well. I know I think there was 2,000 tests near enough in the Premier League, and there was 17 positive cases. On the grand scheme of things, it's not a massive percentage. Obviously, we've got to put the players' health and safety and staff's health and safety first. But we all need to be following the protocols. It's as simple as that.
And you will get tested before the Brighton game now?
Yeah, we will. It's a test that, I think needs doing to put a lot of clarity on how we are. But I'm confident that we'll definitely have a team to play the game.
All the best, Mike. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Rob. Cheers, mate.
Mike, I know it's another of these questions that always gets asked, the pitch and this, that and the other. But is it that time of year now where you're telling the players to play as they see it? Because it can be all right, can't it, the pitch? Might not look nice, but it can be play okay.
Yeah, listen, they've got to adapt to the circumstances around them. This is what any good athlete does, any good sports person does. You playing a game of golf, the wind's coming from a certain way. You don't want to hook it or fade it too much, the other way. You want to play the conditions, and there's a common sense element to how much we can play and how much we can play. We've got to adjust, and hopefully we adjust better than anybody else on our pitch.
This sort of enforced break, as it were, with a few games. Have you been able to do a bit more in training and that sort of side of things over the past couple of weeks?
Yeah, we have. It was good, really good Wednesday to have everybody on the training pitch, really. We've done a lot yesterday. They worked really hard. Didn't give them running drills or anything, but we managed to get a lot into their legs with the information that we wanted to get across to them. And to be honest, they were on top form yesterday.
I know you want goals from everywhere, but I was looking because only 3 teams have scored more than you this season, but the strikers haven't really hit the heights yet. Is that fair to say? Or
yeah, it's fair to say. You have a look at the stats. I don't think. Well, we haven't got a striker in double figures yet. And if I can bring one in or two in January that can get double figures to the end of the season, then hopefully we'll be in a good position.
It is. Everyone chipping in is useful, but to get that real push, it's that next level, isn't it?
It depends, Chris, because if I go and get a striker now that scores 20 goals to the end of the season, but we lose every game 3-2, then no. We've got to make sure we're organised all throughout the pitch, from the goalkeeper through to the last substitute that we make in any given game. So, yeah, it would be nice to have a goal scorer. I think it's the chances we miss or the decisions that we're making at times. It's not just the strikers. It's harsh to say that, but a lot of the opportunities and the chances, we should be putting games to bed, a lot more comfortable.
Finally, from me, so Southend, what are you expecting in terms of them? As Rob said, they are, well, look, they're sixth in the form guide, so they're a side starting to move up.
I'm expecting a tough game, a team full of confidence, a team with a rejuvenated attitude. It's going to be tough. They've had some very, very good results of late. Look, it is what it is. It's one of those games where if you don't take it serious, you're gonna end up losing.
See you Saturday. Cheers.
Cheers, Chris. Happy New Year, mate.
Mike, you've experienced the pressure from being down the bottom and trying to climb up or stay out of relegation. Is it much different at the top now?
There's no pressure, Rob. There's no pressure, real pressure in football. It's only the demands you put on yourself. The pressure is trying to save lives in ICU units, hospitals, sorry. That's pressure. Trying to put food on your family's table is pressure. I love doing what I'm doing. Does it get frustrating? Yes. Does it, play on your mind at times? Yes. But the pressure is what you make of it, really. You can either sink or swim with it.
Yeah. And do you compartmentalize your season? I mean, we're nearly getting to halfway now. Did you have a target in mind? Are you going to try and reassess or reset for the second half of the season, or how do you play it?
Yeah, listen, we, every season we have, short, mid, and long-term goals throughout the season. I know that's quite a common thing to have in businesses or, sport. But yeah, we're on track and surpassed where the targets we set. Let's not dress it up. The main aim for the football club, and my aim this season, was to stay in the league.
Right.
So, I think we're way above that at the minute.
Well, that's a good starting point, and I guess that's the premise for everyone in that division, isn't it? But
well, it is every year. But with the financial implications, the uncertainty of income, expenditure, what we would receive in terms of grants, etc. My aim was to keep us in the Football League.
Yeah. And
we're doing that at the minute.
Yeah. How much more difficult has it been with all the extra pressures of the situation the world is in at the moment as a manager or as a coaching team? Or have you just been able to get on with it?
Listen, you can look at it a couple of ways. I'm looking at it, we're in a very fortunate position that we've still got that normality of football, albeit different rules, etc. We can still go in, train, still play against the opposition. Still, it is as close to a normal routine as you can have being in football at the minute. It's one of those things, and we've got to. Well, I find myself fortunate that we're able to do that. Like I said, the pressures are, whether your health is good, whether you can put food on the table, the fantastic work that key workers are doing throughout the, not just the country, throughout the world. You know, it's tough times. It's unprecedented, but hopefully now it's light at the end of the tunnel with another new vaccine approved, and we can get it out to those who need it first, the most vulnerable, and we can start getting back to normal.
Yeah. How important is it maybe to make a statement on Saturday that you're there to stay, kick off the second half of the season or stick up the second half of the year or the new year, and really make a statement?
Listen, we want to make a statement in every game. I want the 3 points. I want to get over the 40-point, barrier straight away as soon as we can. First opportunity, I want to get over that, and I want to keep improving. It's as simple as that. We want to finish on a high now. You know what I mean? We want to really give it a go. We've got something to look forward to the week after with the Brighton game live on TV. So listen, a lot of them, I'm sure they'll be playing for their places.
Yeah, you couldn't maybe get that kickoff time a little bit earlier, could you? It's a bloody terrible time on a Sunday, isn't it?
Listen, the main thing for me, it was on TV for the club.
Yeah.
So I couldn't care if it was midnight if I'm on the job. One thing I didn't say as well, that the ground staff at Rodney Parade, I know I said it the other night on radio, Rob, but they have been absolutely first class. Like I said, it's tough situation. But I'm sure that now, with a lot of them back, they'll do as much as they can ready for Saturday.